Firstly, I'm really grateful to Hassam Siddiqui and definitely to his think tank, IPCA. And it's an august gathering addressing all of you and definitely the worthy panel that sits here. Considering that I belong to the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, my introduction, perhaps it's not just a name, it's a family that I believe in, a legacy. I'm the nephew of Sayyida Asya Andrabi, chairperson of Dr. Millet, who is behind bars for the past 12 years intermittently, and Dr. Qasim Faktu, the longest serving political prisoners, who now is behind bars for the past 29 years. I hail from the stalwart Gillani family of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. But this is an introduction of a single family. We have thousands of families in Indian occupied Kashmir, and we have thousands of stories. Stories that perhaps just don't surface up because many a times we have a rhetoric to speak up of. We have numbers to give to people, to the international community. But for today, the topic that I was given, the topic that we actually talk about, is Modi RSS regime and the Kashmiri freedom struggle. What do Kashmiris stand for? And what exactly India stands for? India has a very consistent policy. Today, as we observe the 5th of August, 2019, the abrogation of Articles 35A and 370, we must remember the incorporation of both these articles almost 70 years back. What was the reason? What was the aim? India was an occupier then. India is an occupier now. At that time, back in 1950s, the mere aim of incorporating both these articles was to lure the Kashmiris into actually giving an accession to the Indian dominion. And that is what the Maharaja did. Slowly and gradually, from 1950 to 1954 and then 1975, we see a gradual erosion, abolishment of both these articles in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, from where the Prime Minister of IOJK turns into a simple CM, Chief Minister, from where a number of articles and laws that were enacted in the mainland India started getting enforced in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Mass oppression. This is what was the aim. And from that mass oppression, if we continue on further, what was the Kashmiri thinking? A common Kashmiri man. हमारी अपनी क्या सोच थी? एक कश्मीरी किस चीज के लिए खड़ा था? Were we standing only to ask India that we need our constitutional rights? Were we there only to get ourselves recognized as an Indian minority? From 1950s till 2022 today, a common Kashmiri man in the Indian mainland or on the streets of Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir stands only with one single identity, that we are not Indians. That you, as an Indian soldier, as an Indian authority, as an Indian puppet government, do not have a right on our soil. You, today, for example, if Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha states that Kashmiris never needed to take up weapons because Kashmir has abundant resources, those resources, we own them. It's not India who owns them, and India doesn't even have the power to even unveil or even enforce a single Indian law on the Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. इंडिया की तो हैसियत ही नहीं है कि वो मकबूजा जम्मू और कश्मीर में अपना कोई कानून लागू ही कर सकता, because he was an oppressor back in 1947, an occupier even till now in 2022. And that is what the Kashmiri stands for. इसलिए नहीं खड़े होते कि वहां भी ह्यूमन राइट वायलेशंस हैं, इसलिए नहीं खड़े होते कि 2019 में स्टेटहुड को एब्रोगेट कर दिया गया. We stand because we are not Indians. That is our single one statement plea. But then what do we have to do? We have been rebels. We have been warriors. But unfortunately, we are painted and portrayed only as victims. Kashmiris are victims. They're dying over there. Several women have been raped, more than 22,000 women raped ever since 1989. No, yes, both at the same time. We are victims, but all the same, we are warriors. We have stood up against the Indian hegemony through pen, words, and the barrel of the gun. It is indeed many of our unsung heroes, be it Burhan Muzaffar Wani, be it Manan Bashir Wani, be it Naveed Judd, be it Abu Qasim, any of these, be it the son of a political prisoner, Ashraf Khan Sehrai, Junaid Ashraf Sehrai, who got martyred almost 2 years back, and then his father was murdered in custodial killing almost a year back. Be it Sayyid Ali Gillani at the age of 92, still chanting the slogan that Hassan just recited, Hum Pakistani hai, ye Pakistan hamara hai, under house arrest for the past 12 years. Be it Sayyida Asiya Andrawi, who on the 23rd of March and the 14th of August recites the Pakistani national anthem or unfurls the green flag with the zest and zeal that I can guarantee not even any authority, not even any minister over here would have had, unfurling the Pakistani flag. But what do we get at the end? We get an oppression. We get a hegemonic Indian rule. इस वक्त वही मुसलमान वहां पे शायद जिंदा रह सकता है जो जय श्री राम का नारा लगाता हो. जय श्री राम का नारा नहीं लगाते तो या तो तुम कब्रिस्तान में जाओगे या पाकिस्तान चले जाओ. At this point in time, today, if you go and see the display pictures or the public profiles of Narendra Modi or anyone, they have a Tiringa as their display picture. And not only that, they have enforced a campaign in the Indian illegally occupied Kashmir under the slogan of Har Ghar Tiringa. Every school teacher has been forced to buy a small tricolor to hoist not only in his home but also in the schools and to give away to his students as well. Har Ghar Tiringa. And then Surya Namaskar. Every day you come to your office, every day you go to your schools, first of all you need to go and say a puja to the sun. As a Muslim, would we do that? As a free Muslim, would we do that? No. But at this point in time, every single person who resists all of these laws, all of these declarations, even the Kashmiri apples who have inscribed on them as Azadi, Hum Kya Chahte, these Kashmiri apples act as rebels as well. And then the renaming of places. Sher-e-Kashmir Institute, Sher-e-Kashmir Cricket Stadium have been renamed. Even the simple power supplying authority of Jammu and Kashmir, it has been named as Jal Shakti Authority or Jal Shakti Administration. The Nashri Tunnel, the tunnel that actually communicates and makes a way between Srinagar and Jammu, has been named Dr. Syami Prasad Patelji. These simple name changes are also of psychological effects. And then a few examples of which I will culminate a few things. Last year, we have had several massacres. Then there is an example of a 7-year-old boy, Kabir. डॉक्टर मुदस्सिर का बेटा था वो, और हैदरपुरा में 3 कश्मीरियों को मार दिया गया इन कोल्ड ब्लड. नहीं जानते उनका जुर्म क्या था. उस 7 साल बच्चे को उसकी बहन ने ये नहीं बताया कि हमारे वालिद को हिंदुस्तान की फौज ने कत्ल कर दिया. उसको बताएंगे तो उसको वजह क्या बताएंगे? क्यों मार दिया तुम्हारे बाप को? क्या जुर्म था उसका? सिर्फ इतना कि वो एक कश्मीरी था. अहमद बिन कासिम, डॉक्टर कासिम फक्तू का बेटा, छोटा सा, और उसका बाप 29 साल से जेल में. अक्सर अपनी मां से सवाल करता था वो जेल में क्यों है, वजह क्या है, आखिर कोई जुर्म किया होगा तभी जेल में गए होंगे. उसकी मां का जवाब होता था, बेटा वो तुम्हारे फादर ने ना होमवर्क नहीं किया था, इसलिए सजा के तौर पे उन्हें जेल में डाल दिया. And then Ahmad bin Qasim used to skip his homeworks just in the wish of meeting his father, just in the wish कि शायद उनके साथ वो रह सकेगा. Then an example of Zia Mustafa, a 5 or 8 years old Azad Kashmiri, on this side of line of control. What is line of control? You would actually never know. एक 8 साल के बच्चे को क्या पता होगा कि एक unnatural division क्या होती है. But then he crossed it unknowingly, unwittingly, and he was apprehended by the Indian forces, taken to jail, put his case in the court, and his case was undergoing trial. Zia's, Mustafa's, a known terrorist or something, whatever it was, an 8-year-old boy who was labeled with all these things. After 18 years, his case is still under trial, but Zia Mustafa is no more. Last year in July, the Indian authorities took him out of the jail, and in the forest of Poonch and Sirankote, they killed him in cold blood. His case still pending in the courts. His case still undecided. So today, as I stand here as a native Kashmiri, I ask all of you to know one thing. It is not the human rights violations that we are actually crying against. It is not some kind of a special status that we want under an Indian dominion or under Indian constitution. We have only one single agenda. As a native Kashmiri, as a Kashmiri from the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, in the words of Sayyid Ali Gillani, "Hum Pakistani hain, ye Pakistan hamara hai." Then today, the answer that I would want from you is yes. Tum Pakistani ho, ye Pakistan tumhara hai. Thank you.